Hi, and welcome to this tutorial on how we're doing user rights and roles management within Pimcore. So just as a really short video on how we're handling that with multiple access rights and how we are limiting access to various data objects or assets within the system. So first of all, it's all completely configurable. And as usual in those demos, I am using our standard data set and we're just taking a look at how the principle or the core principles actually work. So let's jump right in. And let's go on the system or into the system. So I will explain everything on a user basis, so as a per user basis, but this is not necessarily how you need to do that. So you can also define it in like user groups, and then users are inheriting the group permissions. Just for the sake of making it a bit easier in this demo, I do everything on the user basis. Everything that you can do on the user base can be done on the user group base as well. So if we are jumping into our user rights and roles settings, we can go into that. And let's just quickly go into a demo user that I've created for that particular purpose. So we have like the Pim demo user. What you see here is basically just the usual stuff on the demo or on the user. Basically, we can have first name, last name, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. The first thing that we see here is the perspectives. So we can choose which perspectives are actually available for a user. As a quick recap, what is a perspective? The perspective is essentially how we can determine how the software looks like. So what kind of options are available here on the left-hand side in the menu bar? What kind of selectors do we have available? So if we take a look, for example, at the PIM perspective, for the admin user changes what kind of things I have on the left-hand side. It changes how and which kind of attributes and data pickers are available here. So now I have the cars and accessories and cars by class instead of that kind of assets, documents, and so on, what you've seen before. And of course, this can also be changed to the e-commerce perspective, where I have like the orders in particular on the left-hand side, and the customers and the customer segments. So the stuff that is, I just realized that you can see that, and the customer segments, so that I have like the different ways of working with the system in these perspectives. Perspectives can be defined for on a per user basis. And they can be also attached, or they can be attached to the users and can be used there. So jumping back to the to our users rights and roles. So this is our users. So we see here that we have the availability or the ability to say, okay, which perspectives are actually available from the get-go for this particular user. So this is limited to the PIM perspective. So he just sees the PIM perspective. What we also see here is basically the permission level on a bundle level. So very, very technical, but what it gives you is basically a very, very fine-grained view on what kind of things are available from a maintenance perspective and from a management perspective. So is this user able to generate new classes or get into the class editor in the first place? So the data modeling piece, are they eligible for adding or changing classification stores? Can they go into the marketing features? Can they go into the object breaks? And so on and so forth. So as you can see, very, very fine-grained, a lot of stuff that you can do there. The same goes for the different bundles that we have within the system. So is that something that they are able to execute or that they are able to see in the first place, basically? So we have like the perspectives and we have the feature level with the permission sets, basically. On top of that, of course, we have the data in the system. So what we can do here is also determine which kind of stuff a user can actually create. So what kind of types are they able to create? Are they able to create like different documents? And if so, which one are they able to create classes? So in this case, the user is eligible to create classes for events and news. And accessories and body styles and cars and categories. So this is basically everything else cannot be altered by this user or created by this user. We can change the editor settings. So what are the languages that are available to a certain user and in which way should they be displayed? So if we want to have the German first, for example, we can do that here. Are they able to see translations? Are they able to do translation settings, basically? And are they able to edit that as well? We can do that here as well. So this is basically the third one, so that we can say, okay, this is how we handle creation. And at a third step, basically, we can also change what they can see from a data perspective. As you know, we have like in our data perspectives, This is all of the data objects that we have in the system. So we have the customer management, we have the events, we have the portals, we have the product data, and so on and so forth. So a lot of data that is available. And what we can do on a user basis basically is saying, okay, those are the kinds of documents that you are allowed to see. Those are the kind of images that you're allowed to see. And those are the kind of products that you're allowed to see. So what we can do here, for example, is saying, okay, you are allowed to maybe just see the car images, and maybe you are also allowed to see the sample content. So we can put that in here as well. And we can also say, okay, what can you do with that? So can you list it? Can you view it? Can you publish? Can you delete? Can you rename, create, and so on and so forth? Do you have access to the versioning control and the properties? And do you see the settings and stuff like that? So very, very fine-grained again. So within the tree, we can say, okay, this is the stuff that a person is able to see. This is the stuff that the person, or how the software looks like for the person. And this is the stuff, what they can edit and delete and so on and so forth. So for example, now we have like the complete product data available. So everything that comes from the data objects product data, is available here. So we have the accessories, the body styles, cars, categories, and manufacturers, and they are allowed to list and view and save and publish and completely edit basically edit it completely. What we can also do here is add custom layouts. So this means that on a field level, we can say, okay, a car should look like a certain way for that particular user. So maybe to just do that once, let's open up another car. And what we can do here, what we see here now is basically all of the information that is available, right? So if we say, okay, but this user, they should not see like the sales information, and they should not see the attributes, and maybe they should not even see the media, or we just want to omit some of those fields for the particular user. So what we can do here is basically just say special. We want to go for a special layout for that. So we need to create that first. So let's go into that. We are creating a special layout for that particular user. So we go into the classes, we go into the products, we go into the car, and say, okay, we want to create a custom layout. And we are adding a new one and say, okay, this is my PIM demo user layout. And we're just saying, okay, within that layout, we just want to have one tab panel, and we just want to have one panel in there. And we just want to have the name basically within that panel. So I have to put that here. We want to have the name. We want to have the color, and maybe we want to have like the attributes because we want to see them, and we want to see, I don't know, maybe our gallery images on top of that, but not more, just those 4 fields basically. So we can say, okay, that's it. Oh, we need to add a name, of course. That's a title. That's a title. Let's just call it data. Oh, why did I? Okay, I need to cut here. Wieso immer das name? Nah. Okay, we have now saved our custom layout. So we see that we just have those 4 fields available. So we have saved that as the PIM demo user layout, save and close. And what we can do now on the user basis is basically going back in here, getting into those special configurations and saying, okay, you should have the PIM demo user layout on the products. So we can apply that, save that, and let's see what happens. So I've opened a second window. So this is this one, and we're going in as our PIM demo user. I just have to get the password, just a second. We're going in as PIM demo user. And what happens now is that we see as soon as the UI loaded, we are now in the default perspective of the PIM. So we see the cars, we see the accessories, we see this alternative element trees. And on the left-hand side, the navigational bar is really, really closed down and narrowed down to what we actually need for fulfilling our jobs. We see here that we just have access to the cars. There is, this is limited down on that again as well. So if we are now taking a look at the first one, we are in our Alfa Romeo 900 Black. So this is how the physical data structure actually looks like. So let's see how it looks like for this particular user. So we are going into our Alfa Romeo 900 Berliner Black. It's owned by another person, of course, because we are there. Let's go. As you can see now, same product, different visual representation. So down on the field level, basically, we now have defined, okay, you are just able to see that particular set of data. So there's just a name, just a color, just a couple of attributes, and the gallery, basically. So this is how we can narrow it down even further, basically, on a field level to say, okay, a particular user is just able to see that particular set of information. So this is how we can narrow it down even further, on a field level, basically, to make sure that people are only seeing and editing what they actually need to see and edit. So very, very fine-grained system. As I said, everything that is applied to a user can be applied to roles as well. So this is how we're handling user rights and roles within Pimcore.